yesterday, Matt Walsh um, had a take. As often, sometimes I agree with his takes, sometimes I disagree with his takes.
Mhm.
It's just like anybody, I don't agree with everything. Even the girls say on the show, on the same panel. But he wrote, "Women on OF are the dealers now. They may not run the cartel." Yeah, I wonder if Matt would figure out who owns all these websites. I wonder if he'd point that out. But anyway, but they're the dealers, but they're the dealers selling the drug and making bank. That's why they deserve so much of the blame. We've always blamed the dealers more than the customers. It's time. It's only here where we make an exception because that would mean condemning the behavior of women. First of all, just where I stand, Matt's wildly wrong about this.
Mhm.
I think that the men who subscribe to OF it's equally stigmatized. But
right.
my position, so Matt says the OF problem is women, which is not true in my opinion. So I replied, incorrect. If men stop buying their filth, this would go away. Modern men have been broken, systematically pushed into parasocial relationships by a system designed against them. But at the end of the day, personal responsibility matters. Men alone can defeat OF. And I just feel like, men are more lonely than ever right now.
Mhm.
And that's just a fact. And we can
Yeah.
talk about the many, and women probably are too, to be
Yeah,
honest.
sure.
We
They
have a
are too.
loneliness epidemic. It's been written about. It's a real thing. This is where oftentimes, Melonie's alienating some of her viewership with her take on gaming. My take on OF oftentimes will alienate some amount of my viewership because they just want me to blame the whores. Well, whoring has been around as long as humans have been around. Banning OF isn't going to change that. We need to change men. And also, the overwhelming majority of people subscribe to these accounts are married men,
Right.
which is shocking to me and embarrassing for them. And, men lead. And where are these women getting their leadership from? Men. Men tell them it's okay to do OF. There's
Yep.
no stigma around it. There should be a horrible stigma about it. And this was a narrative like, sorry guys, but hookup culture came from men. It just did. When women started doing it, we call them whores. But men have been taking part and proliferating hookup culture for as long as I've been alive. And men were always slaying puss, and the women were called whores. I have plenty of friends. I always had a girlfriend, so I never really was out there like that. Obviously, I would have slayed. I would have been stacking them up like cordwood or pancakes if that's what I had decided to do. But like, I mean, it's like the stigma around it has never existed for men in hookup culture. Never.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the reality is there should be. Men like to say in one breath, "Oh, I would never date a single mom," or "Ha ha ha, there's another single mom." Well, how do you think she got that way? And I have the same opinion about OF. Yes, there are predatory women and they're gross. Okay. But they would make $0 if men didn't pay them.
Right.
Men control 100% of whether or not these women make money. The reason they exist is because men choose to allow them to exist by giving them their money. So, yes, whore's bad, but if you want to complain about OF, it's my opinion that men alone carry the power to destroy it. What do you? I'll go to Melonie and then Gothix. Just get your opinions on this. Whose fault is it? Why are we where we are with this now?
I think at the end of the day, like you said, men are supposed to be leaders and men are stronger. God made men stronger than women in every way, also mentally, emotionally. Like men, I think what the women are doing is disgusting. It's predatory, and women can make men weak. Even look at what happened with Samson in the
Look at everyone,
Bible.
or look at
It's like they
everybody
can.
James O'Keefe exposes.
Women can make men weak, but inherently men are created as the stronger vessel. So when even if the women are all acting up, the men do have the power to fix this situation. Not only that, look at that video that went viral from Five Guys when that woman walked up to
Yeah.
that cashier and asked him if he would sleep with her. And he
Yeah.
said,
I'm a
I'm a Christian.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
waiting until marriage. Like that was a strong man. And people think that, being some of these kind of bros on the internet that try to act like a man's value is in sleeping with a ton of women and how many fancy cars he has. And it's like, no, a strong man is someone like that guy that worked at Five Guys as a cashier. That is a strong man who looked at that woman and said, no, I'm a Christian. I'm waiting until marriage. He didn't succumb to his lust. So that's admirable. And if we had more of that, if we had more men like that, they can put these women in their place, and these women would feel shame for acting like this, as they should.
Yeah, what do you think? I have a feeling Gothix. Let me do my Gothix here.
Oh, here, okay, do the impression.
Well,
Let's see it.
Everything goes back to society having some sort of moral compass. What's the moral compass that we have? It's Andrew Tate's, it's the influencer culture, it's Hollywood. If people were to have, I don't know, something like the Bible guiding them, then this wouldn't be anywhere near the problem it is in society. Am I getting there?
Whoa, that's spooky. Yeah, so I mean, as the guy at Five Guys, he says, I'm gonna wait until marriage because I'm a Christian. So he's saying, I'm not having sex with you because God said so, and God is my role model. He is my standard. The problem with all of these other guys that don't have a role model is they're going based on what society says. And this is when you get the Andrew Tate's The Red Pill podcast, where they'll call all these women whores, but then they'll glorify men sleeping around like it's nothing. It's just a part of society. That's not a good role model because you're basically following other people. It's the blind leading the blind. So I agree with you where if men stopped buying OnlyFans would go away. I think because men lead, women, they'll get the hint. They'll get the hint that, you know what? I'm aging, I'm sagging, I'm alone. And in order for me to get married, I might have to, follow a man that actually has moral standards. And so, yeah, but that's in a perfect world. And we know that most men don't have that eternal mentor. They're just going based off of what everyone else is doing. But no, I think that's a shit take from Matt Walsh. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like saying that, drugs are bad and the addict bears no responsibility.
No.
Right.
Like you're a raging alcoholic and it's the alcohol's fault.
Yeah.
No. Now, addiction, just like with alcohol or drugs, is real when it comes to this industry. And we can talk about the way that men have been marginalized, have allowed themselves to be marginalized, pushed aside, forgotten by society. We can talk about no-fault divorce and the effect that has on society. These are all things that are contributing towards a societal problem. If you get rid of OF, that's not going to stop lust in married men.
Right. Absolutely.
They need to replace that with something good and something that's good for them. Taking all the liquor out of the house doesn't solve the problem for an alcoholic. They will find something else. They will go out to get the liquor, or they'll get addicted to something else, or it's because there's something missing in them. And it's always an unpopular take when, again, even in chat right now, someone says, Jeremy blames men and not the people flooding and attacking us with prawn. Nobody's making you watch it, dude. Have some personal responsibility.
You have to have personal responsibility.
I'm not pandering to that weak man mentality. Oh, I couldn't help myself. I just had to jerk off to it. I had no other choice. Yes,
self-control.
Yeah,
That's the thing
self-control.
is all of these the red pill influencers are treating these men like they're idiots, and they're putting them in a victim mindset and making money off of these people, saying, you know what, the whole system's against you, you can't do anything about it. They don't want to actually create strong men. They want to create this false illusion of strong men because of the things that don't actually make a man a strong man. They want you to be weak because then they can control you, and then they can have all these followers of weak men who will blame the whole world for their problems. But it's just like, yeah, the world is a terrible place, and but how God made men with more power than women, and the impact that you could potentially have is amazing. And so there's always going to be temptations around us, but the real strength is being able to overcome that. And if you can avoid the temptation altogether, do it. Like,
Right.
don't, like, if you are having a really hard time with porn, and it's so hard for you that when you see that temptation, you just keep folding, then hey, if you got to throw your phone away, turn it off and
Yeah.
don't even use it for a while until you're able to gain the strength to be able to overcome the temptation. Do it. There's no shame in separating yourself from the temptation if you're in a state where it's that difficult, but you can do it. And seek Jesus. He can help you through anything. That's one thing that I say about these things. And I even said in my Gooner video, I was like, yeah, I understand there's a lot of addiction, there's a lot of temptation in the world, but if you're going to try solely to overcome that on your own, like that, it just can't happen. Seek Jesus and he can help you get through
Well,
it.
even if you don't want to seek Jesus, get a hobby. Every
That
time
helps.
you feel like
but porn is their hobby.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, replace it with something else. I'm just saying, like, we can talk about, people saying, it's women's fault divorces happen. I don't care. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about OF. And I'm talking about men who are married giving other women their money and
Yeah.
then wondering why their marriage falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if your wife went frigid on you and then you said, well, so that's why I do OF. You know what you should do? Work on your marriage or get a divorce. Don't go to OF. A real
Right.
man talks to his wife and says, hey, what's going on here with this? They don't do the weak thing and appeal to their basic caveman mind.
Yep.
I'm just saying, look, I've watched plenty of those videos in my day. And it was something that for a period of time in my life was a problem for me.
Mhm.
And I believe that if you're watching those videos and you're lonely, they are making you worse.
They're making
They
you
are
lonelier
destructive.
too.
They are
yeah.
destroying your ability. Sorry, they're destroying your ability to interact with women.
Yep.
And when you do interact with them or you do have a physical relationship with them, it's going to ruin that too.
Yep.
You are literally signing your own loneliness warrant. I don't care if you want to blame women for marriages. I don't care if you don't ever want to get divorced or if you ever want to get married. All that stuff, fine. But if you want to complain about OF, men need to look inward at a problem that we have that is more complex than just TNA getting crammed in our face. It's society needs a stronger moral fabric, and they need, whether it's the girls will say it's Jesus, I will say sure, or it's like just knowing you're better than that. And like the men alone created OnlyFans. Whores have always existed all the way back to the biblical times.
Mhm.
It's your patronage of the whores that keeps them around. So I don't want to hear, oh, it's all women's fault. Like, okay, fine. Women are whores. Ha ha ha. They're going to
Right.
be dried up. They have herpes. No one wants to marry them. Ha ha, losers. Great. Now what?
Right.
Now what?
Yeah, and I
So-
think it's so much that we're not saying that morally speaking, that especially, okay, they die and they're being judged, that, oh, the woman's gonna get a free pass and the man's not. It's like both of them are committing abomination in that, and both of them without the salvation, without repentance and salvation, will go to hell. So yeah, there is that. But what we're saying is that men have the power to make a difference. We're not, it's not so much that, oh, if we're just going to put all the blame on men. It's just like, you know what? These men are actually stronger than
Yeah,
these
that's a better
women.
way to put it.
And
Yeah.
because of theirs, they are stronger and God made them that way, then they therefore have the power to make this situation, to fix this situation collectively.